Hi, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing a novel from the Supernatural TV series. It's called Nevermore. This is the first novel that was written based on the TV series, and I only recently discovered that there were novels based on the Supernatural TV series. I never knew before, and I was really excited when I found that out, so I'm trying to get as many as I can, and I'll do a review on each one that I read. I found this one to be really exciting, and it's based between two episodes in the series, between Crossroad Blues and Croatoan. And if you don't recall much about Crossroad Blues, it was when Dean Winchester first finds out that his dead father, now Dean and Sam Winchester are brothers, their father John Winchester dies in the series. The reason he dies is he sacrifices his life for one of his sons, and then he ends up going to hell. And Dean Winchester just finds that out in Crossroad Blues, that is the episode based before this novel. Also, there are other things going on in the series that make a small reference in this novel, and that's really interesting because it just means that the novels, I think hopefully all of them, will be tied in to the series more than sometimes other novels are when they're based on TV series. But I think I've said TV series too many times already, so let's go on with this novel and get to the plot. There are two main cases in this novel that Sam and Dean Winchester investigate. One's a haunting, and one is a series of murders, and they think the murders are based on a ritual. Somebody's trying to sacrifice people to rituals to bring about something. I found the ritual murder aspect more interesting than the haunting. One of the main reasons is because the murders bring in Edgar Allan Poe, and I found that really fascinating because the novel is set in the Bronx, and it's set in an area of the Bronx that Poe lived in back in the day, before I think it was called the Bronx. That was fascinating, and even the murders occur in areas close to where Poe lived or Poe frequented. So all that was really interesting, and it allowed for some really eccentric characters to come into this story, and I just found all that really fun, engaging, and exciting. The whole plot really is structured just like a TV episode, so in a way it is just like watching one of the episodes, but more in depth because it's a novel, so we can delve more into what the characters are thinking as well. So at the start we have the setup, and it is a good setup. It gets you hooked and engaged. It got me really hooked at the start, and we have somebody getting murdered at the setup, two people actually, and it was a very bizarre murder, a murder by orangutan, so that got me hooked just because of the way it happened. Then we have the two brothers arriving to investigate both cases, the haunting and also this ritual murder. And then we have the whole investigation when they're trying to learn things, go about things. You know, they make mistakes along the way, just like in the series. We have a few characters coming in and out as well, side characters. And then at the end, they solve them, or do they? We don't know yet. I won't give that away. And then they go about doing what they need to do to try to eradicate the supernatural presence. So it's just like a normal episode, but in novel form. I found this really closely linked to what the characters were like. I thought the author did a great job in capturing the way they spoke, the way they acted, everything about them. I just felt like I was immersed in one of the episodes. There are a few scenes that seem to be filler in this novel as well. It's where they have to go to a bar. I'm not sure why they go to the bar, because it involves the haunting case, but the ghost never appears at this bar. It always appears at someone's house after they do a live performance, usually in a band. I just found it was just real filler, and it wasn't necessary to have all those scenes, and that is the main reason why I didn't like the haunting plot in this story. Of course, we have Sam and Dean Winchester. It's not supernatural without them. They're really like what they are in the TV series in this novel. I think they're really closely tied. I think the way they act, the way they speak, the way they think, everything they do is much like what I'd see in the TV series, especially around that time in the second series when this novel's based. I thought the author did a great job on these characters. I'll mention three other characters, and they're all side characters for this novel only, I think. The first is McBain, who is a police detective. The interesting thing about McBain is that we learn she's one of a few police officers in the US who secretly helps hunters and knows all about the supernatural things that go on, looks out for them, and, contacts hunters if they're nearby, or helps them if they're needed and they're in the area. I find that really exciting. And also just the way she treats Dean and Sam. She's not afraid of them. She's not, kowtowing to them. She's very stern with them. And I found that really interesting as well, because like in the TV series, you just need that kind of character to pop up every now and then to put them in their place, because they can get a bit cocky sometimes. Really great character. Arthur Gordon Pym is a really eccentric and fun character as well. He's a bit of a Poe fanatic. He loves Poe, runs a Poe website. I think he changed his name to Pym to even relate it to something that Poe wrote. Everything about him just screams eccentric. The way he speaks, the way he acts, everything he does is a really fun character. And I just found when he was in the scenes, they were so fun, so engaging. I think you'd love this character in this book. Dr. Ross Vincent is another eccentric character in this novel. So we have two eccentric characters. You might think it's heavy-handed to have that, but I think they're both done really well. And without them, I think this novel may not have been as good. Now, Dr. Ross Vincent is a college professor. He's also a bit of a Poe expert, so that's the reason he's involved. The brothers go and talk to him to get some background information on Poe. His character was just really entertaining, and everything from the way he spoke, the way he dressed, also screamed eccentric, screamed a lot of fun. If you knew him in real life, I think you'd probably love this character. Everything about him was fun, and he makes a big impact in this novel. When I first found out about supernatural novels based on the TV series, I didn't know what to expect. Sometimes these type of novels are successes, sometimes they're big flops. You just don't know. I think a lot depends on who's writing them. And of course, if there's a few of them, there are different authors writing some of them. So they can change from author to author as well. Fortunately, I think the author did a great job in this one. Everything just felt like a TV episode. I felt like I was immersed in an episode. And for that, I give this a 3.5 out of 5. If it wasn't for the haunting storyline, I probably would have rated this higher. The haunting one just slowed it down a bit for me and felt like a lot of filler. Apart from that, the rest of the book was great. Even the side characters were wonderful. With my interest in the supernatural novels, I have come across a few more of them. And for each one I'll read, I will be doing a video on them. So if you like supernatural TV series and the novels based on that series, or just want to learn more about them, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out.